Good afternoon. It is so wonderful to be back. So I missed you all last week. I know we had our cancelled class last week, and I really was disappointed that I was not able to be with you all. But we are back again this Wednesday for our English level 1, and we are continuing with pronouns. And interesting, it was really wonderful seeing those who send their home lesson to me. I have not received some people's work. I am still looking for the work by some persons. So when you finish your work, whatever assignment I give you every day during the week, you can send me a picture of it so that I can correct it before the next class. So those people who haven't seen, I'm missing Cheryl, I'm missing Derwin, I'm missing a few people, right? Let me see your work, look at the videos. Contact me if you cannot get the videos, because we are not allowing it to be accessible as it used to be. But contact me if you want to be part of the class so that we can have you on board, okay? So, Sabriki, good to have you this evening. And let's continue. We cannot wait on those who are late this evening. We are continuing with our pronouns. And today we are looking at pronouns as we exchange it with plural nouns. Plural means more than one. Plural means more than one. And I realized that some people had they were mixed up a little bit in terms of doing the pronouns last day. So I just want to spend a little time explaining. And then we're going to look at some sentences where we have these nouns and you need to replace it with the pronoun. Okay, so let's go. So we're having, and the pronouns that we're going to focus on, and that is the one that gave a lot of trouble in the home lesson. We're looking at the pronoun we. And I'm sorry I'm not seeing Sabriki today, not Sabriki, but Rebecca today, because she had some problems with that, identifying that we. So pronoun is a we, and that we, when we are signing that word in sign language, as I was explaining to Rebecca, how we sign the word will identify who we really looking at when we include in we. So when we say we, and you will see the interpreter signing we, he is starting from himself, and then he is going to include other people. So we is you must be part of it. When you're talking about we includes yourself. And how you represent yourself when you're looking at we is that you use the word I. So, but you put yourself last when you're representing it. So if you are together with another person, say you are together with, I'm just writing names, right? Mary. Oops, excuse me. Let's do that over again. We have Mary. So you are with Mary. So this is Mary here. This is one person, but you are together with Mary. So in order to represent we, which is more than one, you have to put yourself, and yourself will not be your name. You are representing yourself by saying I. You are representing yourself by saying I. So we is Mary and I. So that is how you represent we. So we could this is how you have to put we, right? So you don't write your name. So if your name is Jane, you don't say Mary and Jane. No, you represent yourself by saying I. So if I represent, which is, if I'm gonna, I don't want to put my name, right? So I'm gonna confuse you there, all right? But I is yourself, your name, whatever your name is I. So you don't write your name, you just write I for you, right? But the other people's name, you are going to write. So this is you here. So if you are a girl, so this is you, and you're representing yourself, all right? Draw yourself, and oops, right. So that is I. So we, I'm showing other varieties of we. So I'm looking at we again. So we could be you and another person. It could also be, we could also be more than one person with you. It could be this person, and yourself. Now let me see if I can draw myself again. See if it can look the same. Right? So this is also we. So it could be the people's name. We have Peter, Mary, and to represent yourself, you say I. You always use I to represent you. So you say Peter, Mary, and remember we are doing English in sign language. You don't use the and, but you need to say and. So, but in English also you use these commas to separate the list of people. So Peter, comma, Mary, and I. So these three persons which you are part of all represent we. So in sign language, you start the sign for we, touching yourself, from your body, and you move your hand outwards and you make a circle and come back to you. So you are including, you're pointing at the other people who you are representing with you as we. So that is where the sign comes from. So when the same pronoun in English is the same pronoun in sign language, and the movement of your hands in sign language represent the meaning of the signs. So sometimes, and it happens with English persons also, we use words and we use them the correct way, but we do not know the formal or the English or the structure of our language. You don't understand our language, but you could speak it. The same way, deaf people, you all can sign. You all know sign language. You could communicate. But to explain your signs, you have to learn a little more. But you need to learn it when you're learning English. So when you're learning English, you can learn your sign language even better. You understand your sign language, right? So these are those people who did the home lesson. And those who could not understand the home lesson, when I asked you to give me an example for we, this is what we is. We is, you must put that, you must put I. You must put I, which represent yourself and whoever else, their names together with you. So that is we. Go into the next one. And this one was very easy for people. They. We did they, and most people were able to get they. Most people were able to get they. So when you're looking at they, and look at the interpreter as he signs they. When he is signing they, he is putting his hand out. He is putting his hand out and he is referring to other people. They. He's not including himself. They. So they, when you're looking at they, you make a list. It have to be more than more than one. So it could be two persons. They. So this is they and this is they. It have to be more than one person. And what we write, so we put, I'm using the same names, Mary and Peter. Mary and Peter is they. And look at it, I did not put I. Yourself is not part of there. It's only those people alone. And they can represent any number more than one. Any number more than one. So I can have they again. And I'm going to draw, I can draw, instead of drawing two, I'm writing two, I can do three persons. So I have this person, 1, 2, make them a little different, 3. So I have 3 persons. So anything more? Yes, Sabrikri, what is the question? Tell me. I'm seeing your hand up. Go ahead. No, no, no. Sabriki, you just had, I think one was wrong or something. I think we corrected. It's Rebecca who had some, yes, you sent it for me already. Yes, I know that. Sabriki. Sabriki, I know you sent it. Right. Sabriki, I know I saw your home lesson that you sent for me. I know when we were talking, I think it was just one you got. All right. Rebecca said she's coming in just now. Okay. Right. So there now we have, we put in Mary again. Oh, sorry, not Mary there. That is a boy. All right, so we have Peter, Ian, Mary. All right, and I want to make sure I put in my commas. So I have Peter, comma, Ian, and Mary. All right, so I have, and these 3 persons represent they. We look at it. I, yourself is not there. If you were there, you would have been I, but this would not have been they, it will be we. So making sure more than one persons, when you're referring to more than one person, you say they. And this is the same word you use in sign language, but it is in a sign. For English, they. So we have we and they. Right? Good. So when we say they, we are talking about another person, other people, right? It have to be more than one. We're talking about them. They are children. They are deaf people. They are in Arima. We're talking about them. We're not talking to them, eh? We're talking about them. All right? We're talking to a friend about them. So this is when we use they when we're talking about someone. All right, or we're signing about someone. So we're talking about. So I'm using the word about, and maybe even this word about is an English word. All right, talking about someone. So when you're talking about someone, you use the word they. They. And we'll see them in some sentences in a little while. All right, so I'm going to put in another one. The last one we're going to do with the plural. The last one is you. You, that's the next plural subject pronoun. And remember, we are doing subject pronoun. These are subject pronoun. You use them in the sentence to replace the noun that is in the subject, and we did that already. So this is you. You is a pronoun, and it represents plural. You can represent plural, and it can represent singular. Singular means one. So plural, if I'm saying you, and I'm looking at plural today, we're looking at the plural. So I am talking to these two persons. I am talking to these two persons. And I'm saying you. In sign language, how do you represent you in sign language? You point with your finger. You point with your finger to the person you're talking to, or sometimes you look at them. But you point and you look at them. When you're doing the plural, you are doing more than one person for you. So you could be Ian and Peter. You are talking to them and you say you. So instead of saying Ian and Peter, I'm just taking off this. I put my and, okay, talking about two. Ian and Peter, you say you. Okay, Ian and Peter is you. And you could be also, so this is plural, and I'm just showing you this because I want you to know that you could be also be singular. So this one is plural. And this is one thing with the word you, the plural pronoun you. We could use it both singular and plural. So I can say, I'm going to write you again. And I'm going to represent you when I'm going to do singular. So I can put Ian alone. And Ian is one person. So I can say Ian is also could be represented by you. Right? And I want you to know that this you, this second you is singular. The second you is singular. Single means one, singular. Singular. Right? So you can be either plural or singular. And it's the same thing in sign language. But when you're using you, instead of you're not talking about these people, you are talking to them. And this is another English word. You are talking to them. So I am talking to, that means my eyes, I'm facing these people and I'm talking to them. I'm talking to them. I am talking to them. And I say, you are in my seat. I am talking to Ian and he's sitting down on my chair. And I say, you are sitting on my seat. I point at him, I look at him. It's one Ian. Or one day I come home and I see two persons in my yard. And I point, and they are some strangers. They don't belong in my yard. I didn't invite them in my yard. And I said, you are in my yard. But it's three persons I'm looking at. You are in my yard. And I'm talking to three persons. So one person could be you, or more than one person could be you. And I'm talking to them. I am talking to them. I'm looking at them face to face and I'm talking to them. Unlike they, I am not talking to these people. I'm talking about them. And you know, sometimes in the deaf world, we just say people gossiping about me. But talking about someone, and it's not really gossip, but sometimes it could use that word also. So when you're talking about someone, so I am on this side with somebody, with a friend or somebody, and I am talking, we are talking, signing or whatever, we're talking about these people over there. We're talking about them. We're not talking to them, we're talking about them. And we say they. They have some nice shoes. They say how nice the shoes looking. All right, they are some deaf people. They're smart, they're bright, right? All right, and we're talking about them. We're just having a conversation about them, but we're not talking to them. So when we're saying they, we're talking about it. And that is the same way we do it in sign language as we do it in English, right? Just represented in the words. All right, so let's go on to some sentences. So let's look at some sentences, and I hope Rebecca comes on time. So we're looking at some sentences where I am going to put the plural. I'm going to put the plural nouns in some sentences, and you have to tell me which one of them am I going to use. Am I going to use you? Am I going to use they? Or am I going to use we? You have to, oh, sorry. You have to tell me which one of these pronouns I am going to use to replace my nouns in the sentence. So the first sentence, John, Mary, and I are eating. Making some simple sentences. Right? John, Mary, and I are eating. So this is a sentence, but I need, you see all these words, John, Mary, and I want to exchange these for a pronoun. I want to exchange these for a pronoun. So what pronoun would I use instead of John, Mary, and I? Excellent, Sabriki. Right, so we're going to say we are eating. So you see how by using the pronoun, you see how short our sentence become. And just that one word we represent all of these things when we are doing it in English. In sign language, we just do the name sign or whatever, or we point at the people who are together with us, not really name signs. We point at the people who are with us, and it is even shorter, right? But when you are going to do writing, when you are writing stories, especially when you are writing stories, when you get into level 1 and level 3 and you start writing stories, short paragraphs, you must know this. This is important. You'll see the importance, right? When you're going into writing stories and so on, you're going to be using that. And that's where your writing becomes really nice in English, okay? All right, let's do another one. Number 2, I'll do the examples. Mike and John. All right, I'm going to stop using that word John. Peter are playing football. Okay, get it in here. Give me my L. Right. Mike and Peter are playing football. So we need to replace or exchange Mike and Peter for a pronoun. And as I did it already, I'm sure Sabriki, you know what it is already. Right? Right. T-H-E-Y, they. So you're going to say they. So you're talking about them. So they are playing football. And it is simple. It is simple. But when you go on to doing your writing, you need to remember these things. You need to remember it. And the last one, number 3, I'm going to write Jane but this one is a little technical. So we're going to say Jane come inside the house. Jane, you're talking to Jane, eh? Jane, come inside the house. So you're talking to Jane. You're talking to her. Jane, come inside the house. So instead of, just a minute. Instead of writing Jane, you write you. And I should have put the plural, but sorry about that. But we still the singular and the plural. We say you, and you're pointing at Jane, and when you're saying the you, come inside the house. And you know when you're doing sign language, you're pointing at the person. So you say you, come inside the house. You are talking to the person. Right. Good. I like the sign, Shabriki. And if I do the plural, I will say Ian, Ian and Mike clean up the yard. Ian and Mike clean up the yard. So I am talking to Ian and Mike. I am talking to them. What pronoun am I going to use? Am I going to use they? What am I going to use? They, you, we. What am I going to use? Ian and Mike clean up the yard. Not they. I am talking to these people. When you're writing words when you are speaking to people, you put these words. And this is another thing that we'll learn about, these quotation marks, we call it, to say the words, the words that comes out of your lips, like the hearing people, right? So the words that comes out of your mouth and you're talking to someone, when you're having a conversation and you're writing. So there's conversation. When I'm talking, I'm having a conversation with someone and I'm talking to them. I use these, they call it quotation marks. These are words to come around the words that you are speaking. So Ian and Mike clean up the yard. Ian and Mike clean up the yard. I'm talking to Ian and Mike. I'm not talking about them. I am talking to them. And I'm giving them an order. Ian and Mike. And to represent Ian and Mike, I'm not going to say they. I'm going to say you. Because I'm talking to them. You clean up the yard. And this is conversation. You're having a conversation with them. You're talking to them. These are your words that coming out of your mouth. You're not like you're making up a story like before. Just when you're talking about somebody, you're telling them something. All right? Just so. I'm putting the quotation marks. So because they are the words that coming out of your mouth. All right? Full stop. Good? The words that coming out. You clean up the yard. And I'm talking to you. Right? And I know if I look at the first sentence, who I'm talking to, Ian and Mike. When I'm signing it, I point them. So these are pronouns. Plural pronouns representing plural nouns when more than one. Right? So I have Ian and Mike. And remember that you could also mean singular, like I use in Jane. Right? So this is important for that person to know, because when we go as higher and higher, these are skills you're adding, right? And because you are not talking in English, you have to look at it in the reading, looking at it. And I know it is a difficult thing, so that's why we're going slowly, right? But we are getting there, right? So I just going back from the beginning as I summarize, right? Today, we look at pronouns and we exchange it with plural nouns. So we're looking at plural nouns that means more than one to look at pronouns. So the pronouns must, and the pronouns we did today was, let me put it, we did we, and that's writing it underneath, we did they, and we did you. These are the pronouns that we represent more than one. So they represent more than one nouns. Okay, so that's what we did today. And we look at we, and we said we have to include yourself. You see this I? You must have I. You must have yourself inside there, but you must represent yourself by using I. Right? So you and another person. So we is at least two or more persons. All right? So you could have three persons. Right? And you separate the comma, use the comma and the and to separate each other when you're doing a listing. All right? We haven't gone into punctuation, but it is important. They, you are talking about some people. You are talking about them. So this is the two people talking about, they are talking about the people on the other side. They are having a conversation here. They're talking, signing, and they're talking about Peter, Ian, and Mary. And they're talking about Mary and Peter. So they're talking about these people. When you're talking about people, you use the pronoun they. And they must represent more than one. And remember, you're not seeing no I, yeah? You're not there. It's them alone. But you're talking about them. And the next one, last one we did, you. You is when you're talking to people. And we say you can represent plural or it can represent singular. And you're talking to the person. You're having a conversation with them. All right, that's why we did the quotation marks. Words are coming out from your hands, talking, or chatting. And I say, you girl, you want to go to the mall tomorrow? Huh? And you're talking to them. All right? I say, oh, let's go to the mall. All right? And you're pointing all these other people going to the mall with you. Plural, you. Okay? So that is our lesson for today. Now, home lesson, let me go quickly because I know my time is up already. Homework. All right? And I want you to make sentences. So I'm giving you three sentences to make, and I'm giving you the words I want. So I want Stephen and I I'm giving different names. Curtis and I have to get names in my head. What? Craig. All right. And the last one, Keith and Stephen. We use out some names. But yeah, what you have to do, these, I will tell you what they represent, which pronoun they represent. So you have to make the sentence based on the pronoun. So this is we. Remember, this will be we. This will be they. And this will be you. So when you're making your sentence, all right, you're making a sentence with Stephen and I, but in Stephen and I have to represent we. Okay? Curtis and Craig, they. Remember, when you're using they, talking about these people. And Keith and Stephen, you are talking to them. So I want to see to make these sentences. Make sentences using the noun and after you make it, or should I make it? Let me show you what I did before. Right? Remember, we had the noun first. So I had the noun in the sentence and then I change it into the pronoun. So the same thing you're doing. So you use the sentence, you make a sentence with Jane, and then you write over the same sentence, but you use you. Same thing like I did before. You make the sentence with John, Mary, and I, where you, and then you change it to you, we, and you write over the same sentence. So that's what you're doing. Same thing, Mike and Peter. You say they. One sentence with Mike and Peter, and one sentence with they. So that is what you're doing for home lesson. All right. So it's two parts, two sentences you're writing, but it's the same sentence, but just replacing it with the pronoun in the second time. Okay. So I want to say thank you everybody for being here. And those people who missed class today, it is you need to contact me to give you the link. I will send it to those who I know is on. All right, but anybody else who want to be in the English class, contact me. All right, Deaf Pioneers Life Center, deafpioneers.com. Contact me, and we can put you on to the classroom so that you will be able to learn English with us. Bye-bye until next week, Wednesday. Thank you, Sabriki, for joining us today, and see you all next week. Please God. Tomorrow we have our Bible study at 5 p.m. in the evening, and we're looking forward to seeing you all. Bye-bye.